would have received an email and a survey this week because we have planned a church camp in October. Thing is, it's a different location, so we're actually wanting some feedback. We do have a minimal, obviously with every camp, you've got a minimum number of people who can go. So we're actually just putting it out there, say, okay, who's actually keen to come along? And if people aren't because of different reasons, and there are a lot of different reasons, right? A lot of different reasons. I said to Andrea, I went to the shop. I did go to shops often, but I went to the shops. I needed one tomato. One tomato. Cost me $2.13 for one tomato. I'm thinking, tomatoes. Who needs tomatoes? Indians do, because that's how you cook curries. There are a lot of legitimate reasons. So we're just putting it out there. Everything that's actually going to add life to us is going to be a stretch. But I don't want an unnecessary stretch on people, and I don't want people to feel guilty. So that's the reason I put it out there. It's only literally going to take you a minute. If you can fill that out, that'll give me some great information, because I'm about to really launch into planning it, and I just need to kind of know that. Other thing is, in 2 weeks' time, we have a church dinner on the 29th. So there'll be no Sunday morning service. 5 o'clock, we're asking everyone to bring in some delicious food. There's going to be tables out. We're just going to have church dinner together. And everyone in the community is welcome. So just bring people along. And that is actually going to be an incredible expression of actually what church should be, which is just eating and enjoying each other's company. And as I mentioned earlier, July I'm going to be on leave. So pray you support the team and all that. But don't worry, I'll be back in August. Okay. We're going to be in Obadiah. Has anyone ever read Obadiah before? I've never done any study in Obadiah. I've never preached out of Obadiah, and we're in Obadiah. So let me just get this for a moment. I don't know if anyone's familiar with these kind of things. Has anyone got one of these? I can't see anything, so that didn't help either. Could you imagine just kind of walking around like this? Be kind of odd, kind of. Does anyone think I'm stupid right now? I can't see you. Did any hands go up just then? No? I wish I had a camera here so I can see. Who are those people? Actually, there's a couple of things on here. There's actually a label on this blindfold. Let me read it. There's a label on here. It says arrogance. Arrogance. And there's another label. What does that say? Oh, there we go. That's the title of today's message. The Anatomy of Arrogance. And now you're wishing you didn't come to church today, huh? The Anatomy of Arrogance. We're going to be talking about arrogance today. So just giving you a heads up, every time I do a message, don't worry. God messes with me before he starts messing with you. So I've had a horrific 2 weeks. No. Last couple of weeks, we've been journeying through our fourth theme in the Minor Prophets. We're in the Minor Prophets this year. We've never done this before, so we're kind of journeying together, and it's been incredible how God has actually been speaking to us. But the last couple of weeks, we've been entering into this theme, which is kind of a little bit different, a little bit daunting, and if you don't handle it well, it's actually can be a little bit dangerous. It's called the Day of the Lord. The Day of the Lord. Does that sound ominous? The Day of the Lord. Dun, dun, dun. Day of the Lord. What is the Day of the Lord? It's one of those themes that rocks up a lot in the Old Testament, rocks up a lot in the New Testament. The Day of the Lord, the Lord's Day, however you want to word it, is one of those themes that is up front and it's actually in our face as followers of Jesus Christ. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of breaking down what that really means. It's a moment, Day of the Lord is a moment where God actually breaks into history, where he confronts evil, where he brings justice, and he renews his people. That sounds cool, huh? Do you see like a lot of evil around the world, a lot of injustice around the world? We've had a significant kind of events over this year and like this week, and you kind of look at things and say, okay, God, like you need to come and sort some things out, because I know you gave it, you put things into our hand, but to be honest, we seem to be fumbling the ball. Isn't that right? As humans, we can do some things really great, but there are moments when we really do fumble the ball, and then we need God to come in and say, come on, you need to sort this out. So the Day of the Lord is actually that moment where God comes and he actually sorts it out. And the thing is, as the Bible talks about this idea of the day of the Lord. There is this imagery, this poetic imagery, symbolism that's kind of used, and it is like dark, it's chaotic, it's gloomy, and it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? And what we've been learning is that this day of the Lord, this image, this language, and all this stuff that's going on, what God is doing, He's speaking to His people and He's arcing back to their story. In particular, He's going back to the Genesis moment in the Bible story. In the beginning, God creates the heavens and the earth, and there is darkness and there's chaos, and that is the moment before creation, right? In fact, if you read on in Genesis, you see this moment, God starts creating, it's wonderful, it's delightful, and then this chaos monster comes in and starts like running havoc again, and then all of a sudden, you got this guy called Noah. Everyone know Noah? And he builds this boat, and he goes to this boat, and then there's this flood. You get this picture of water again. What does that represent theologically? Decreation, that's what it does. And then after that, God starts again. And He puts His bow in the sky, the rainbow, all right? Just in case anyone likes to get really outraged here, let me just put this out. Something happened to your relative, and instead of stepping in and helping and assisting, you did nothing. And because of that posture, the day of the Lord's going to come upon you. I'm going to come and I'm going to intervene, and I'm actually going to put things right. So Obadiah is this prophecy that reveals that arrogance is not just about pride, it's actually about the refusal to love when it costs us something. And because of that, like I said, I've never done any study in Obadiah, but I think that even as we're going to go into this, especially as we're talking about the blindness of arrogance, that is something that pertains to 2025. You reckon? Has anyone experienced arrogance? Are there any arrogant people in the church today? We've got one honest person. Two honest people. Anyone else want to be honest? It's like a confession moment. All right, we're going to read verses 1 to 4 of Obadiah. So if you have your Bibles, I'm going to read from the NIV, otherwise it'll be on the screen. The vision of Obadiah, this is what the sovereign Lord says about Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord. The envoy was sent to the nations to say, "Rise, let us go against her for battle. See, I will make you small among the nations. You will be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home on the heights, who say to yourself, 'Who can bring me down to the ground?' Though you soar like an eagle, I will make your nest among the stars, and there I will bring you down," declares the Lord. What a way to start. I'm like, gee, Jesus, if you're going to send a prophet to me, please do not start that way. You think nothing's going to touch you? I'm going to show you, Edom. You think your nest is over there? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to rise you up to the stars, and from there I'm going to bring you crashing down. That's a real comforting word from the Lord. What a way to open a book. And in just those first 4 verses, we actually find out from Obadiah that there's a diagnosis that is actually put on the table. And that diagnosis is pride. But this isn't just the garden variety of pride. This is like pride that's on steroids. This is pride that's actually gone to the next level, okay? Pride that's gone to the next level. Pride that has grown legs and stepped into arrogance, all right? Understand that pride that's gone into arrogance. It's a dangerous thing to step into pride, because if you're not careful, that sucker, that grow legs. And all of a sudden, it ain't just pride that's got you. Man, you're an arrogant person. arrogant. And we've all been there, huh? Humanity. In our humanness, we've all been, which is why I think that this is actually a pertinent message, not just for all of us, especially myself. It's because we're all vulnerable. Edom is in this high position, both literally and metaphorically. They're in the hills, they're in the cliffs of the hills, so they can't be touched. You know how much harder it is to actually attack someone if they're hidden away in the mountains. We don't have mountains in Perth, but just imagine like that. It's so much more harder. And because of that, they have this false sense of security. They're thinking, no way, no one's going to be able to touch us. We're hidden away here. There's no way they can even climb these mountains to even touch us. The problem is, obviously, is that when we're talking about pride, when we're talking about arrogance, this is not an Edom problem. This is a 2025 issue, isn't it? This is an issue of the human heart. This kind of arrogance that's subtle, that creeps in. It's deceptive. It still lives in our hearts today. In all of us, every single one of us, it lives in us. So, in light of that, I wanted to talk about the anatomy of arrogance. I had a cool idea where I thought might freak out the kids. I was going to bring a skeleton out. I thought that's going too far. So we use this. Before we go on to the big three, I want to give some honourable mentions that Obadiah does bring up. Some honourable mentions of arrogance. One honourable mention is gloating. Enjoying the downfall of others. Have you ever had someone do you wrong and then something happened to them and you think to yourself, man, that's so good. That make me, honestly, I'm not going to say it in church. I'm not going to go to Dave and say that, but you know what, man? Man, they got what they got because they deserve that. Have you been? No, don't put up your hand. I don't want to see it. We've all been there. Gloating. That's an honourable mention. Another one, taking advantage. Someone's down and out, and instead of actually coming alongside to assist, you see an opportunity. There's an opportunity to actually take something that's not yours or take something that's not mine. Opportunity in a time of crisis. And the other one's mocking, this subtle weaponizing of words against those who are on the margins and those who are vulnerable and those that are down and out at the moment. So there are some honourable mentions, and we could have dug into those three things and it would have made us uncomfortable, wouldn't it? But let's look at the top three from what I see in this. Number one is blindness. Blindness. Arrogance, pride steps into arrogance. And when you're actually an arrogant person, you're really blind. Do you know the problem with being blind? Very often you can't tell that you're blind unless you actually have some real good self-awareness, right? And we live in a day and an age where we are so distracted and we are so busy that very few people actually set aside the appropriate time to sit down and be still and actually be self-aware as to where I honestly am right now. But blindness, man, that's a sucker. Verse 3 says, the pride of your heart has deceived you. And you who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home at the heights, you're the one who say to yourself, nothing's going to touch me. So this idea of being overly confident. And Edom's confidence was rooted in their geography and also their alliances, their relationships, their mates, their friends. Oh yeah, I'm in the right. I'm all good. I'm hidden away. No one can touch me. How about God? I'd be more concerned with where the Lord can reach than actually other people. You know what I'm saying? Just word to the wise. They lived in these high cliffs and they felt that they couldn't be touched. They felt they were above it all. They had no problem with the way they were behaving. They had no problem with the way that they were speaking. They had no problem with the way that they were complicit. And God says, I see you. I'm going to give you an opportunity to actually add a little bit of humility, a little bit of contrition. But if you don't, I'm going to intervene. I'm coming. So blindness is this thing that actually makes us blind to our own real vulnerabilities. And it even makes us overestimate our own strength and underestimate our faults. Have you ever been in that mind that you always judge yourself by your intentions, but other people by their actions? Yeah, it's true, isn't it? It's just human, you know. It's like, no, but I meant to do this. You may have meant to do this, but you damaged people along the way. No. But I didn't mean to. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you meant to do. You damage people along the way, and people are image bearers of God, right? So if we damage people along the way, we've got these incredible gifts that are given to us: forgiveness, mercy, grace. These are spiritual weapons that are given to us, that when we do go along and it does suddenly dawn on us, holy cow, I thought I was in the right. Turns out I was blind. I can actually go and actually bring that repairness into it. Someone said that we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Oof. That's the first one, blindness. Second one is emotional detachment. Emotional detachment. Whoa, gee, Lord. Emotional detachment. Like I said, man, last 2 weeks have been rough. Rough. Emotional detachment. Verse 11 to 12. On the day you stood aloof, while strangers carried off his wealth. Okay, talking about Judah. And foreigners entered his gates and cast lots for Jerusalem. You were like one of them. You should not gloat over your brother in the day of his misfortune, nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, nor boast so much in the day of their trouble. And the reason is because Edom's not a distant kind of like unfamiliar, like we got nothing to do with you. No, you guys are related. There's this relationship here. And when someone comes in and knocks down the doors of your brother, you're gloating. And when someone comes and carries off their goods, you're indifferent. And God says it's because of this. This is arrogance that is actually on display right here. It is arrogance. Judah, the southern kingdom, facing this invasion and exile at the hands of Babylon. In the moment of devastation, Edom just stands by, not in grief, not in concern, but with detachment and with glee. Whoa, man. Instead of stepping in to help, Edom watches Judah suffer. What's really pertinent is that there are people wanting to escape, refugees wanting to escape. Guess what? Edom would not even let them in. Oh my goodness, how 2025 is that? Huh? Wow. Holy cow. Arrogance creates this empathy fatigue, and we simply stop caring. We dismiss suffering as weakness, detached from others' pain, and we become neutral, and at the end of the day, that is moral failure on our behalf. Abraham Herschel says this: indifference of evil is more insidious than evil itself. It is a silent justification. And Charles Spurgeon said, he who has no tears for others has dried up the well of his own humanity. Man, I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks have been rough. Dave, are you blinded by arrogance? No, Dave, let me word that differently. Dave, where are you blinded with arrogance? Oh, okay, complicity is the third one. Complicity. This is a big one for the church today. I have been speaking and talking a lot about, are we complicit in things? So verse 14 says this: you should not wait at the crossroads to cut down their fugitives, nor hand over their survivors in the day of trouble. Okay, this is the moment where they refuse to let the refugees in. They cut them off at the crossroads and they handed them to Babylon. Edom wasn't just indifferent, they became active participants in the trauma that is being experienced by Judah. And arrogance, the reality is, it rarely stays silent. Eli Wiesel said the opposite to love is not hate, it is indifference. And it's because of these things, and they're the top three, that God says, I'm stepping in. The day of the Lord is going to come and visit you, Edom. The day of the Lord is coming because your pride has grown legs, it's put on some steroids, and all of a sudden that pride turned into arrogance, and that arrogance has an anatomy that we can actually see. You have become blind, you have become indifferent, you have become complicit in evil which is happening. And that's what he says in verse 15. The day of the Lord is near for all nations. As you have done, it will be done to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head, because arrogance always gets returned. And that's why the day of the Lord is coming. Gee, this is a really encouraging message so far. Are you guys feeling encouraged? Yeah. Let's talk about the antidote to arrogance. The antidote to arrogance is called worship. It's very difficult to be in the presence of God and to sing songs of praise and to remain indifferent and to remain arrogant. Worship recenters us. It brings us low before the one who is high. It makes space for God to be God, and it reminds us that we are not God. It reminds me that I am not the center of the universe. Even though there is this tension and there is this pull to always make things about me. Anyone else? It's all about me, it's all about me, it's all about me, it's all about me. It's not about you, it's not about you, it's not about you, and it's not about me. Romans 1 verse 21, for although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but in their thinking they became futile, and their hearts became foolish, and they were darkened. What's darkened? It's blindness. Arrogance begins where worship finishes. You know, we're supposed to live this lifestyle of worship before God, and sometimes things happen. Trust me, I know. Things happen. And you just simply cease. You stop worshiping God. And the thing is, it's a very dangerous and vulnerable place to be, because as soon as we stop worshiping, because everyone's created to worship something, right? I don't like worship. You're worshiping something. Like, stop it. Like, seriously, stop it. I don't want to. Like, it's just not me. It is you. If it's not going to be God, it's going to be something else. Right? The problem is when we stop worshiping God, that's the beginning of when pride and arrogance steps in. And like I said, there could be pride in our heart. And I've been there, don't worry. I'm sure everyone in this room has been. You can start off with pride, but that sucker's going to grow legs. It's not going to stay a little baby for long. That thing is going to grow, and that will grow into becoming this thing of arrogance. And if the stopping of worship is the thing that allowed that to grow, it makes complete sense that the antidote to where I find myself as an arrogant guy right now would be, oh my gosh, Jesus, I stopped worshiping. I'm going to open up my mouth. I'm going to open up my heart, even if I don't feel anything, and I am going to say, you are God, and I am not, and you deserve the praise, and I don't. I'm going to put you where you belong because you haven't moved. I'm going to move myself. It amazes me how people can be following God and say, oh no, I'm not a worship God. Yes, you are. I've been doing this for far too long for you to say that rubbish to me. And the issue is, when we stop, I'm the one who has to be there and walk with you when that stuff happens. And it is my delight to do that. Don't worry. That's my job. However, if we actually encourage each other, if we spur each other on to keep on going in the first place, what a better witness we'd be to the world, wouldn't we? We've got so many angry, outraged, bitter Christians. People don't have an issue with God, they have an issue with the church. Is that not right? Why is that? I have an issue with the church sometimes. Like, dude, you're supposed to be following Jesus and you are just so upset and you make enemies all the time and you keep on like weaponizing scripture and throwing stones. Like, why can't you just live a quiet and peaceable life? Love your wife, love your family, love your kids. Anyway, I kind of went on a bit of a rant, didn't I? Psalm 95 verse 6 to 8. I'm going to get the worship team up because we are going to step into a bit of worship. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. Oh, let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. for he is our God. And we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care. Worship softens our hearts. If you find yourself in a place this morning, if you've got a hard heart, and I'm talking about arrogance, and you're upset with me because I'm talking about arrogance, that says more about you than it does about me. And I'm okay with that. The amount of times I will say things come out of my mouth and it upsets people, it agitates people, that has everything to do with you and nothing to do with me. You just need to know that. And if you find yourself in that place, be encouraged. It means you're a human. However, if you find yourself in a place where your heart is hard, why wouldn't you step into a place of softening? Come. Let us bow down and worship. Come. The invitation's there. Come. Come. Eugene Peterson said this: worship is our rebellion against the tyranny of pride. Every bow, every confession is a protest against the illusion that we are self-made. It's a protest. It's rebellion. The principalities and powers of this world will have us believe that we are self-made, that we don't need anyone else, that we do not need God, that we do not need church community. Do you know how hard it is to try to convince Christians that we need to be the family of God? Why is that? Because principalities and powers have tried to convince us that we don't need each other. And when we come together and we worship, in 2 weeks' time, when we come together and we eat together, as a youth go off on youth camp, that is a rebellion. We would look at the arc of Christianity and we would call it as it is. It is a revolution in this world. Especially in 2025, where there's fragmentation, where there's isolation, where there is loneliness. We as the people of God say, we will not put up with that. We will not put up with the tyranny of this world. Let us worship. Let us come together. Let us delight in each other. Let us eat together. Let us play basketball together. We will do things together because there are mysterious forces that are trying to rip us apart. And if things are trying to rip us apart, guess what? We resist. That's what the church does. And it is an open door and an open invitation. And I don't care who you are. I don't care where you came from. Everyone's invited. Come and enjoy the family.